I did not remember to share my screen here, right? How interesting. How? Yes. What is it? I was distracted. What? Okay, don't.
Groceries and the
Everyone can
food
hear you
remember
now.
the other day. I don't think that's a good thing.
Okay, we'll go back to the starting soon.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
The stream elements just randomly go like, "Oh, follow if you're enjoying the stream."
It's supposed to do it every
I
like
was like,
2 hours, but it doesn't. So I don't know. But it's supposed to. It's supposed to do it a amount of time, right? But it doesn't. All right, all right, all right. Last chapter. All right. Of this chapter. So excited.
Chapter 1 of Chapter 1, Chapter 2 of Chapter 1, Chapter 3 of Chapter 1.
Are you ready? You're you're a little too big there. Let's go. There we go.
What?
Yeah, you were in front of my mouth. So just be a little smaller, like that. There you go.
Wow. You don't want to be kissing the back of my head.
I could say something really mean right
What? What?
because I don't even know if this is a true fact about you, but it's just something that you say in response to someone that says that. But I'd rather not,
What?
considering I don't want to be mean to you.
No, let it out, huh? What?
I'd rather not eat your dandruff, thanks.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you have. I don't know if you deal with that problem, but if I'm right here, right, and every time I open my mouth,
I don't think I've ever said that in my life.
I know, which is I don't.
I thought you were
Dear
saying that in
Lord.
response to me.
Yes! Because you said you don't want to kiss the back of my head every time you open your mouth?
My brain.
Oh my
Continue.
gosh. Ah!
Jeez. I think there was one tip and we read it. Two tips, yeah.
We read it.
We got through it.
Ah! Mm.
I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. Is the chapter almost done yet?
I will kill you.
I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I caught. God, it's starting. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake and about panic all night. I can't read. I spent all night hugging the metal bed and sat on top of the futon I used to barricade my door. I'd break.
What?
Waiting, watching just in case someone tried to break through my window.
Hmm.
If I left the spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it.
Hmm.
It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point during the endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside, but that was it. That wasn't so much the morning as it was the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek out through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere, no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Or. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time. But I needed to make my own breakfast, so I better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oishi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing. And regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara.
Calm yourself.
Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. Ow. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take notes of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself, I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas.
Mm.
I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. All right. Let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength. And entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. I was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rina or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents come back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now, and considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion. It wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today would be different than yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Keiichi Maebara. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. Yawn.
John?
Mion.
Oh my goodness.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces passing
Homebound.
along. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers.
Mm-hmm. Pain.
I just heard her telling Sadako and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. Though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident about her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I wouldn't dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl.
Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the nationals.
It was a Mion. I already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised.
ミオンか。
Oh, Mion.
分かってるなら放っておいてくれよ。
If you understand, then leave me alone.
俺は甲子園で忙しいんだ。
I'm busy practicing. I give her a curt reply with my usual jokes.
We're crying because the name of the game is Higurashi When They Cry. So I know more about this game than Jeff does. I've gotten to chapter 6, I believe. And I've watched the anime. And sometimes you do cry. But Jeff hasn't cried yet.
I don't know why I would cry.
I don't know, man.
The show is like... Not the
You
show,
haven't
this
watched
game.
it.
The game is paced like if an 80-year-old was crippled hobbling through a fucking hospital.
Oh my god, it's got so many details that you just overlook, okay? That's why.
Overlook? Oh,
Yep, overlook.
Maybe I underlook it because you got me fucking 2 inches tall on your fucking stream.
Oh my gosh. You know what?
What?
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
There we go. Look at that. There you go. Now you're bigger. There you go.
What kind of shampoo is that, huh?
You did not. You did. You. No fucking way. Okay. 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 Goodbye.
Crazy.
Look, there you go. Now you got the screen. You got the whole screen.
Jesus. I kind of want them to be able to read it too.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. This is what you said. This is what you said. It's what you said. No, careful of the horns. You don't want to cut yourself.
It's a fake nose. My real nose is not actually a circle that's red.
Okay. Okay. So you got a protective barrier.
Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tactically keeping Mion from getting any closer.
Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy.
I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest.
ホームルームまであとちょっとだろ。
Homeroom's not that far off, is it?
もう一汗かかせてくれよ。
Just let me finish practicing. Bitch. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Come on, Mion's evil.
Oh, good lord. Kei-chan, when did you get into basketball?
最
I mean
近好きになっ
baseball.
た。
Fuck.
Shut
Shut up.
did not!
Shut the
You
fuck
did
up. Shut the
not!
fuck up. Shut up. When did you get into baseball? Kei-chan?
Just recently, I liked watching LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Famous baseball players.
Oh, yeah. Super. Also, we need to watch that game.
最近って昨日から
Or did you look at the results without me? Did that happen already?
No.
Oh, it did.
What? No, like legit, no. It came out like 4 hours ago.
Okay, oh my goodness. Recently? You mean yesterday?
No, like 4 hours ago.
No,
I'm kidding. I know that you're kidding the game. I'm kidding.
I swear to good lord.
分かってんなら聞くなよ。
Don't ask if you already know.
あれまあ
Oh dear.
スポーツマンに
That's a very unsportsmanlike reply.
気が散る。
You're distracting me.
放っておいてくれ。
Go away. Go away. I ignored
Aim
Neon and kept
out.
swinging.
Sorry. Can you say
What
it
the
again?
fuck was that? Aim out.
I'll do it after you re-say the sentence.
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was gonna do.
I ignored Neon and kept swinging.
I'm always watching Mike Wazowski. Shut up.
Continue. Oh my god.
And I'll start.
What?
It all started when I was a little kid. And they said it would be cool. It would make me cool. It didn't
What
make me
would
cool.
make you cool? I'm always watching.
I've been smoking cigarettes for 35 years.
How long you been alive?
Chocolate.
What? Did you say chocolate?
No way. You've never seen that.
Chocolate.
I've never.
Remember when they invented chocolate?
I've never seen this.
It's a SpongeBob meme.
No, I have never. I don't watch SpongeBob.
Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility. But we were at school, in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out.
何か用なんだろ
You need me for something, right?
う。なんだよ。
What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. Breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me. Or take those pills we saw, huh?
用ってわけでもないけどさ
Pills? What?
I'm gonna let you think about that for a second.
I don't remember seeing any pills. Well, it's nothing important.
お疲れのようなら後にするけど
If you're tired, I can ask again later.
今でいい。
Now is fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judged the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone away from others, that's out of the question.
とさ
Well,
うーん
Mian was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Oichi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mian was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire.
I love Neon.
おじさんダメだわ
This old man's just no good at this stuff.
高級品は
Having a
つらい
poor
わ
vocabulary hurts.
なんだよ、突然。
What's this all of a sudden?
言いたいことがあるならはっきりと言えよ。
If you have something to say, just say it.
やめてよ
Stop it.
素振り
Stop
Oh,
that
no.
swinging.
She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank I didn't understand it for a moment. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I?
ちゃんとやめてるだろ。
I just stopped, didn't I?
じゃなくて
That's not what I meant.
今日で終わり
I
に
want
してほ
today
し
to
い
be the last day you swing that
悪
bat.
いけど
I'm sorry.
It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with swinging a bat?
なんでだよ。
Why?
余計なお世話だよ。
It's none of your business, is it?
別に誰にも迷惑かけてないだろ。
I'm not bothering anyone, am I?
かけてる
You are.
Mion said it flat out. Just didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating.
俺がいつ誰に迷惑をかけたよ。
When did I bother anybody?
Mm.
Mion was at a
Lass?
Mion was at a loss for words. But she finally made up her mind and spoke. Though she stuttered, she said it. Though
Because
she stuttered,
Kate-chan,
she said it.
that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission.
転校した生徒の忘れ物だろ。
I think permission's out the window. It
Mhm.
was left behind by a student who transferred, right?
本人が取りに来るまで借りてるだけだよ。
I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it.
Huh? Yeah, he
Money.
transferred.
転校したし
Mion grew uncharacteristically. Why are they using this word so fucking much? Damn, man, fuck. It's like they fucking figured. It's like the dude was writing the story and was like, this is a cool word. And was like just throwing it in whenever he fucking could. Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered.
Also, Loco, it's Tuesday, right? Tuesdays are Higurashi days.
Huh?
Loca's probably wondering why I'm not playing Wilds, and the reason is because Wilds.
Dead game.
No, it's not a. Oh my god.
I was laughing while stretching and it hurt.
Oh,
That
okay.
hurt.
Okay. I'll play Wilds. Soon, probably. Maybe. I'm not sure. I have plans to play.
Heard nothing.
What?
Heard nothing what you said. Playing some music too damn loud.
Tuesdays
what
are
the fuck- why you
Higurashi
watch
days. We play Higurashi on Tuesday because I'm obsessed with this game, and I love it. I love the anime. I love the game, and I literally have a Mion cosplay. I cosplay this lady right here. I love her so much, and she's receiving
Evil.
all the hate right now from this guy, right? Which is so sad. So sad. So
this
sad.
guy?
This guy.
This guy.
This guy right here, who's voicing
Just a
Keiichi
guy.
Maibara.
Just a guy, alright.
Oh my goodness. You complained that you were not absorbing enough of the story because you were too small on the screen, and I made you bigger. What do you want from me?
This guy is crazy.
Oh my
He made
gosh!
it all too clear that the transfer was a lie.
でも変わってるよな。
Wait, look at the history of the log. She was like, yeah, he transferred.
I said that.
I know, but I don't know.
But yeah, I'll play
It's
Wild
strange,
sooner or
isn't it?
later. I'll play Wild sooner or later. I'm so excited for the new game tomorrow. But yes, I will most likely get that scarf. It looks cool.
兄貴だけ転校なんだろ。
For the older brother to transfer by himself.
Strange, isn't it?
妹は転校しなかったんだろ。
While his little sister stayed behind. She's gonna be like, how do you know that?
No, she's not. They have the same last name.
Oh.
Why would she be like, oh, how do you know that?
He figured out his last name.
Stuff usually has the first and last name on it.
Maybe. Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up.
Kichan, you knew?
王城聡
Satoshi Hojo.
聡子の兄貴だろ。
Sadako's older brother, right?
Oh, it's such a good
鬼
game.
隠しにあって消えた。
The one demoned away last year. Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent.
レナにも言われた。
Rina asked the same thing.
なんで素振りを始めたのかって。
Why'd you start swinging that bat?
Mm.
サトシもやってたんだってな。
She told me Satoshi did the same thing,
素振り。
practicing his swings
それも失踪の直前
right
に。
before he went missing.
これってさ。
So was this kind of omen
前兆ってわけなのか。
for Oyashida-sama's curse? Mion panicked and looked around.
頼むよケイちゃん
Please, Kichan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. He complained, Vitoxic. He said that he wasn't able to absorb enough story because he was so small on the screen. So I said, okay, sure. Please, Kichan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly.
私はそ
I
んな
don't
に信
believe
じて
in
ないからい
him,
いけ
but
ど
the
さ
others very much do.
レナなんか
Rena
やばいくらい
especially.
やばいくらいに。
Dangerously so?
とにかく
Anyway,
みんな怖が
you're
ってる
scaring everyone.
もしもこ
If
れ
you're
が
just
悪ふ
fooling
ざけ
around,
で
then
やめ
stop
ない
it.
サトシの真似は絶対
You
に
have
や
to
め
stop
て
acting like Satoshi.
I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place?
I'm so small because he... You want to repeat your joke? Hmm?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about? He made a joke about asking me what my shampoo was, and I was like, oh, hell no.
Why are you so
Oh.
big?
Why am I so big?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a monster.
Well, not because of your size, more because of your morals.
Oh, is that so? Crazy.
I think you should probably be the bigger one because your head isn't as fucking huge as mine, apparently.
Well, it's not, though. That's the thing. My head isn't as big as yours. Like, if I can fucking get back on my PNG, jam, fuck. Yo, bro. Good lord. And you're, yeah. I mean, yeah. Look at that.
The height difference between you IRL, which one?
It's a little bit like this. That's the height difference. Right? Or was it a little bit more like this?
Probably say
I'm not small!
I have a you might want to sit down when I tell you this, Vitoxic. Willa is probably taller than most men.
Oh, is that so? Wait, what's the height average for man?
In America, like 5'9", 5'8".
Then no, it's the same.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe, but like, if you're out and about, I think you see a little bit more. I don't know. No, it's not 5'10". I think it's 5. I think that might be worldwide. I think it's 5'9" for America.
Nah, I'm just a
Yeah.
little. I'm about that height. I'm about that height. Also, be careful, Jeff. You don't want to poke your eye out.
That's exactly what I was saying. But yeah, when
Oh,
I go
my
outside,
joking.
when I go outside, it's 5, like it, like I'm 5'11", and like there are a lot of people shorter than me, and like kind of almost noticeably shorter than me. So like, I feel like in public you're more prone to see shorter people. I don't know. It's such a weird phenomenon.
No, I mean, I usually don't. I mean, I see a range of height, you know? I mean, I don't really focus on other people when I'm outside the house. I try not to even think that they're there.
But yeah, I think my eyebrows are around the tip of her head. I think that's around because I think my brother's 5'7", and I see over him just barely.
I'm not 5'7".
But that's what I'm saying. I see over him just barely, so that's where my
Wait,
eyes
which of
is.
your
So you'd
brothers
probably
is
be
5'7"?
brother I live with. None of my brothers are as tall as me.
Mm.
One of my brothers is like 5'9". Oh, what not? Well, I have a half brother that's as tall as me. Maybe 6 foot.
Mm. Oh, massive forehead. It's okay.
But yeah.
The laugh. Oh, come on, you're okay. It's okay. It's okay. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? But still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions.
Are you not getting baited anymore, Jeff? Where's the rage?
What do you want? Oh my god.
Where's
Let's talk
the
about my food
rage?
today. I had a burrito, right? Normal. Earlier, I needed fiber, and so I needed fiber, so I went to go make some sandwiches with some wheat bread and had some good fiber in it. And so I made 2 pieces of bread, right? A piece of salami and mayonnaise, and that was it. I had 2 of those sandwiches. Is that disgusting, huh? Salami and mayonnaise on a sandwich. No cheese. No mustard. You don't fuck with salami?
I do, but not on sandwiches.
The fuck do you put it on then?
Cream cheese. I just roll up the salami around the cream cheese and, well, vegan cream cheese now, but it's delicious.
Yo, go after her.
It's delicious. It's amazing, okay?
Yeah, Vtoxic was typing something, heard what you said, deleted it all, and then put the words on.
Look. It's delicious. What were you about to say? Huh? We toxic? Huh?
It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions.
先に言っとく。
I'll say this now.
俺はサトシのことは何も知らない。
I don't know anything about
みん
Satoshi.
なが隠してたからな。
After all, you didn't tell me anything about him.
We didn't mean to hide it.
毎年起こる事件のことは
You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you?
That's because we didn't want to,
ケイちゃん
怖がらせたくなかったってのか。
You didn't want to scare me?
それが理由で俺だけの
That's your reason for leaving me out?
いや
No,
そんな
we
つ
didn't
もり
mean
じゃ
to.
ミオンに直にダム
Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I?
ミオンはないって言ったじゃないか。
And you told me nothing happened.
バラバラ殺人があったのによ。
When someone was dismembered and murdered,
嘘つき野郎。
you lied to me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you.
仲間ってのは隠し事なんかなしだろ。
Friends don't hide things from each other, right?
そうだろ。
Isn't that right?
じゃあお前らは仲間じゃない。
Then you all aren't my friends.
Kei-chan,
ケ
we...
イちゃんそんなの
Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I could have never imagined. I never could have imagined Mion acting like this.
Also, Toxic, what do you mean you can't even type it, huh?
So foul.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. My whole family eats it that way.
That's a pinwheel, right? That's a
前日
pinwheel.
の見舞いのおはぎ
I
Pinwheel.
wouldn't
あ
feel
れうま
weird.
かったぜ。
Yeah, that's what
血が
it,
出るか
you
と思った。
spread it on the spread it on the salami and then roll it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a pinwheel. But the thing is, I wouldn't look at you weird if it wasn't for the fact that you just said you don't like it on a sandwich, and you did a little almost like a ew to me when I said I had it on a sandwich.
I didn't though, but I don't eat them on sandwiches because I just don't. The only thing I have on sandwiches is chicken, turkey, and that's it.
Not even ham. The fuck was that for?
I don't like ham.
You don't like ham at all.
The ham glazes don't taste good to me.
Not that word again. That word haunts me.
Does it?
I'm not scared of a lot of things, but that thing scares me.
That's great. Alright.
Oh, by the way, those get well mochi you brought the other day, they were good. I thought I was gonna bleed.
やったのはどっちだ。
Who did it?
お前か。
You
レナか。
or Rena?
私
Me?
She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was.
死ぬかもしれなかったんだぞ。
You could have killed me.
仲間にあんな真似をするのかよ。
How could you do that to a friend?
But it was just a little prank.
ちょっとしたいたずらじゃん
Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me.
あれ
That's a
がいたずらで済むかよ。
You think that was a prank?
You good?
I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That's crazy. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I had swallowed that, it lodged in my throat. What did she think was going to happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew
とにか
anymore.
く
Anyways,
お前は仲間じゃない。
you're not my friend.
仲間じゃないやつの指図は受ける言われはない。
There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend.
俺のことは当分放っておいてもらうぜ。
So just leave me alone for a while.
いいな。
Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore.
俺を消そうとしても簡単にはいかないからな。
It won't be that easy to erase me, you know?
お前らは最初から警察に疑われてんだ。
The cops have been on to you from the start.
サトシ
not
を
a
消せたように簡単に消せると思うなよ。
Why did you say that? So I don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war.
俺も過去の事件はお前らが怪しいと
I
思っ
think
て
you
る。
guys are suspects in the previous incidents too.
ダムの反対運動の時から
I also know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement.
隠しきれてると思うなよ。いいな。
Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that?
How did you know?
そんなことまで
Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. Oh, it's time for morning homeroom.
行こうぜ。
Let's go.
委員長がいないとまずいだろ。
The class representative needs to be there, right?
Huh?
At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks.
You're so mean,
ひどい
Keija.
よ。
Me. I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty.
俺、行くぜ。
I'm going.
ホームルーム遅れるなよ。
Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. Cold. Aura. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself.
そっか。
So that's how it is.
Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion just talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy, cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her.
ケイちゃんに
So it was that
全部バラ
bastard
したの。
who leaked it all to Keija.
あの野郎か。
She balled up her fists as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot on the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. Looks to be a moon, 2 moons in the sky with
It's just supposed to
the-
represent a demonic expression.
no, but there's symbolism. You're not looking up. You're not looking at it right. But look, it's a moon, right? But it has an opening in the middle where there's a smaller moon inside. No, I'll just shut the fuck up. I'll just shut the fuck up. This transformation, Mion's transformation, it's different from Rena's.
あの時、殺しとくんだった
I should have killed him back then.
ことして
He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year.
Retire this year? Was she talking about Oishi-san?
Damn it. Damn it. I'm gonna kill that damn old man.
Yeah, no, I'm not going into that school. I am leaving. Felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist, spiral. Bending. Whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a vision. For real. Hello, America.
Oh,
Goodbye, weird Japanese town.
Rise. Attention.
Put your phone down.
I don't have
Leon made
what?
up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts.
Do you think I'm holding my phone?
You held your phone, then you put it down.
No, that's not what I put down.
Rise. What are we getting? Willa ASMR?
What do you think I'm chewing on?
Popcorn.
Mm-hmm. That was the popcorn ball.
As a fat man, I know my crunches.
Or it could be that, you saw me have popcorn yesterday.
Don't reveal my secrets.
You just want me... Wait, so you would rather everyone think you just
Dude, I told the story to. I know I've told the story to you, but I was sitting on the game with my friends, and I audibly sniffed the air. I was like, "Is that brownies?" My mom never told me anything about even buying brownies or anything about making brownies. I audibly sniffed the air, and I
Everybody
go,
can smell
"Is that
brownies, okay?
brownies?"
Everybody in the world can smell brownies and guess that they're
But it was
brownies.
the sniff. It was the sniff I did. It was the, "Is that brownies?" And my friends were like, "No way." They were like, "That's the fattest shit I've ever heard in my life." And so I go outside of my room. I look at my mom making brownies, and I go back into my room and I let out a big sigh as I sit down. I was like, she's making brownies.
Imagine if you had been wrong though.
At that point, with the conviction of that sniff, they knew I wasn't wrong. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Sadako nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The month since I transferred in, I had almost been too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join in to club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the door entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath, in the recesses of my heart, achingly I knew this would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be. Whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless of my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There's something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere mixed in with their shrieks, Tomataki-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When do I realize it? I wonder if I will be again amongst the Higurashi fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. Bui, bui, bui. There was still so much summer left, yet this one already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened. But I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once. As if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who'd brought them to the dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. Presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. The Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No. Since I was able to hear the footsteps, they'd probably also be able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I've hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell that the fear that I had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come out. Come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at the person following me. Jesus Christ. My imagination... What does she have in her hands?
I wonder.
My imagination hasn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was a hatchet.
There's a hatchet.
The fuck's going on? Are you seeing that too?
Mm-hmm.
It's a black screen, but it's also,
No, it's okay, it's okay.
I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare. Baseball, practicing my swings, there were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that hatchet, there was no excuse for that. A hatchet just like that?
Keiichi-kun,
かくれんぼか
are you
な
playing hide and
か
seek?
な
I wonder.
My heart was pounding. Hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken a hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here.
レナを驚かせようと
Were
し
you
たのか
trying to
な
scare me?
か
I
な
wonder. I wonder.
I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now. There was still space between us than allow Rena to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped back from behind the tree.
I found you, Keiichi-kun.
Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. Ooh, my legs began to quiver. Ah, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of vicious hot and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good, not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose.
何の用だよ
What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit.
ケイチ君と同じ
Just the same as Keiichi-kun.
帰り道だよ
I'm heading home.
じゃあそのナタは何だよ
Then what about that hatchet?
じゃあケイチ君の
Then
そ
what
の
about
バッ
that
トは
bat
何
you're
なのか
holding?
な
俺は素振りで
I'm practicing my swing.
じゃあレナは宝
Then
探
I'm
し
treasure hunting.
Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon.
宝探し
Treasure
ダム
hunting?
現場の宝の山にね
At the treasure
ま
mountain
た
near the
新
dam
しい
site.
貝のを
I
見つけた
found a
の
new cute thing.
だからね
So I needed
それ
to
を
this
発
to take
掘
it out.
するために
信じるかよそんなの
How could I believe
信じない
that?
よ
You
ね
wouldn't believe it, would you? Oh.
Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before. The one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious.
待ってよケイチ
Wait,
君
Keiichi-kun.
Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. When Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. The cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena, and I was trying to escape.
ついてくるなよ
Don't follow
そ
me.
れはできない相談
I
だ
can't
よ
do that.
レナの
My
家
house
に
is this way
来たもん
after all.
When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different.
Big
Rena didn't
stretch.
show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I'd just change my route. That'd work, wouldn't it? Oh. I turned onto a side street that I'd never known. I'd never been down and knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth.
どうしてついてくるんだよ。
Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror.
ケイチ君とお話ししたい
Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun.
ケイチ君も
Keiichi-kun wants to
レナ
talk
と
to
お
Rena
話
too,
ししたいんじゃないかな
doesn't he?
かな
俺は何も話したいことなんかない
I don't want to talk to. I don't want to talk about anything with
嘘
you.
だよね
That's a lie, isn't it?
相談したいこ
There's
と
something you want to ask me about, isn't there?
ない。
Not at all.
レナと話すことなんか何もない
I
よ。
have nothing to talk to you about.
嘘だよね
That's a lie, isn't it?
嘘じゃないよ。
It's not a lie.
Lies!
Scream echoed. Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only thing I could do was increase my pace.
お話ししようよ
Let's talk, Keiichi-kun.
お話
Talk.
お
Talk.
話
Why was I running down this unfamiliar, deserted street?
ケイチ君には悩ん
Doesn't
でる
Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about?
ないよ。
Nothing at all.
何も悩んでない。
I'm not worried about anything.
Lies!
Even though I was running. Even though Rena was walking. Why wasn't I getting any farther away?
わかるよ
I know, I know.
レナはわ
I really do know.
怖いんだ
You're
よ
scared,
ね
aren't you, Keiichi-kun?
怖くなんかない。
I'm not scared.
何も怖いことなんか。
I'm not scared of anything.
Lies!
My breathing grew heavy and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat.
レナだけは相談に乗って
I'll
あげる
listen.
今度こそ
This
乗
time
って
I'll
あげられ
listen.
る
I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do.
今度こそ
This
相
time
談
I'll
に
listen.
サトシ君
It
の
will be
ことは
different from the time with
違うもの
Satoshi-kun.
When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop.
サトシ君も悩んで
Satoshi-kun was worried
辛
too.
そうだった
It looked like he was having such a hard
でも
time,
レナは
but I
相
didn't
談に乗っ
listen.
てあげるとても悲
I was
しか
so
った
sad.
Where did the street connect to? Oh, these twists and turns and ups and downs. It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window.
サトシ君が転校し
I
ちゃ
really
った時
regretted
に
it when
本当
Satoshi-kun
に後悔したんだよ
transferred out.
レナが相
I
談
thought
に
that
乗っ
if
てあ
I
げれ
had
ば
listened,
サ
he
トシ
may
君
not
が
have
転校せずに済んだか
transferred
も
out.
すごく後
I
悔
really
した
regretted that.
The road led me deeper into the forest. Why wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite the realization, my inner self was still disturbedly calm.
Are you disturbingly calm? Hello, Gray.
I'm
Are you feeling calm?
chill.
You're chill?
だからね
So you
誓
see,
ったの
I vowed.
もしも
I
サトシ
vowed
君
that
み
if
たい
there
に
was
苦しん
someone
でる人
struggling
に
like
もう一度会えた
Satoshi-kun
ら
did, I'd save
助
them.
けてあげよう
I don't want
と
to see anyone transfer out
もう
again.
人が転校するところは見たくないな
She laughs like Balloon Boy.
Oh my goodness.
Damn it. What does transfer out even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as
さ
Satoshi.
あケイチ君
Come on,
レナに
Keiichi-kun,
話して
talk to me.
レナはきっと
I'll be able to
ケイチ君を
understand you,
理解してあげる
Keiichi-kun.
レナだけは
I'm your
ケイチ
ally.
君の味方
I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot they felt like they were going to explode and my heart was beating as hard as it could possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought.
If Keiichiken doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time we'll team up and beat Mi-chan.
I can't unhear it. Yeah, how much fun would that be? Rina couldn't even imagine how much I had wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days.
You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. This time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go right now. Let's go up to the dam site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it, too.
My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. Couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't even matter how it was going to end. It wouldn't let it in. I wouldn't let it in. Not without knowing anything. Not yet. That momentary lapse was all it took. With all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have froze the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating.
Are you afraid of something? I wonder. It's not like you to tremble, Keiichi-kun.
Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. The weird tint. As she had admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. The blur of arms as they moved me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of 1,000-armed Buddha. Then as both her hands met above my head. Then as both of her hands met above her head, the hatchet that she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do. Tell me, what happened to Satoshi? Rena stayed like that, with the hatchet raised above her head and solemnly opened her mouth. It was as she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions.
I told you, Satoshi-kun transferred out.
Enough of that transfer crap. It means demoned away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you?
サトシを消したのは誰だよ
Who made Satoshi disappear?
エラか
Was it you,
ミオンか
Mion,
それとも村の誰かが
or someone in the village?
答えろよ
Answer me. I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain the smile frozen on her face.
ケイチくんが何を言ってるか
I
わからない
have
な
no idea what Keiichi-kun is talking about.
じゃあ分かるように言ってやる
Then I'll say it in a way say it in a way so you do.
連続開始事件の犯人は誰だ
Who was the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths?
ケイチくんは勘
You
違いして
seem to be
るよ
confused, Keiichi-kun.
What?
人間の犯人なんかいない
There is no human perpetrator.
すべてはお社様が
Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will.
お社様のたたりなんて
Isn't Oyashida-sama curse just superstition?
レナは信じてるってのか
You believe in that too.
信じるとか信
It's
じ
not
ない
about believing or not.
お社様は
Oyashiro-sama
いるの
exists. Period.
Rena's gaze grew even more gelid. The ferocity of her stare so intense, not allowing me to question anything.
お社様なんているわけが
There's just no way that something like Oyashida-sama could exist.
ケイチくんは信じな
You
いの
don't
お
believe
社
in
様
Oyashiro-sama?
信じられるはずないだろ
There's no way I could believe in it.
そんなのいるわけがない
There's no way it could exist.
いるよ
It exists.
お社様
Oyashiro-sama
ケ
exists.
イチくんだって身近
Keiichi-kun
に感じ
should
てる
have
は
felt
ずだ
it
よ
personally.
そんなもの感じたことないよ
I never felt something like that.
ケイチくんさ
Keiichi-kun,
誰かに
haven't you
謝ら
felt
れた
someone
ことない
apologizing to you before?
それもずっ
Constantly?
と
On top of that?
All noise from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded loudly and terribly.
それはね
You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you.
学校へも
At school,
お家へも
at home,
枕元へも
at your bedside.
I couldn't understand what Rena was saying.
レナのところへも
It came to me too,
お社様
Oyashiro-sama did.
だからレナは
That's why I
転校して
transferred and came back to
南沢
Hinamizawa.
に帰ってきたの
Don't understand. Don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying?
ケイチくんのところ
Hasn't
にも
Oyashiro-sama come to you as
お
well,
社様
Keiichi-kun?
きっと相談に乗れ
You're
るのは
probably the
私
only
だけ
one who you can confide in.
ケイチくんを
I
転
won't
校なん
let you
かさせない
transfer
から
out, okay?
Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashida-sama came to her as well? That's right. Last night I had heard about that when I asked about Rena. Please keep this confidential.
また内容には一部憶測も含まれているかもしれません。
Also,
okay?
part of this may be speculation.
You good?
Yeah?
すべてが真実ではないかもし
Not
れな
all
い
of
と
it may be true.
よろしいですね。
Are you still interested? Oishi-san began speaking.
Welcome in! Welcome, Project,
Alkion?
Alkion? Welcome.
Alkion.
Welcome, welcome. What game were you playing? Hold on. Were you playing
minute.
Stretch? Oh my goodness. Big Stretch. Hello.
Oh, it's a welcome back project, Alkion. I remember you.
Right?
Hashtag Rena hater. Hashtag Rena hater.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck that. What is what? Wait, what did she say? Was it Rena? The fuck that orange-haired bitch? Something like that.
Yes, something like
Hi.
that. Hello.
Something like that. Yeah, I am prone to believe.
You don't like my creepy voice for Rena, huh?
It suits it well, but it also like I don't know, man. Just
You don't
can't
know?
trust anyone in this village except for Oishi.
Oh my god, he's not in the village. And you definitely can't trust that Madison. He's an asshole.
That man is a truth teller, a truther, as you will.
No. Absolutely not.
How's your dabbling in Higurashi going project?
hmm Have you beaten the first chapter of chapters? Yeah.
Beaten.
Because we're on the last
You're
chapter
beating
of
the
the first
30
chapter.
hours that you have to put in this.
You do not have to put 30 fucking hours.
I beg to differ.
Oh, Lord. Goodness gracious.
Oishi said began speaking.
被害者も学校も告訴していないので
Neither the
調
victim
書が
nor
ない
the
のです。
school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report.
つまり
Why'd I make him
警
British?
察が関与
I
して
have
いない
no
の
clue why you made
Basically,
him
the
British.
police hadn't intervened in this matter.
ですから詳細は関係者からの聞き取りのみなのです。
Basically, the police hadn't intervened in this. Oh, fuck. So all the details are just what I heard from those involved.
つまり信憑性が高く
Meaning it's not that credible.
I don't call people who don't give me credible stories truth tellers, okay? You gotta give me credible shit for me to call you a
Rena, all
truther.
she does is lie.
Is it?
Transferred out.
I don't think she was lying when she was talking about how Keiichi was gonna eat noodles. Well, I mean, he didn't actually eat noodles, though.
So that was a lie.
Oh my goodness. I guess.
Continue. Popcorn eater.
I am a popcorn
You
eater,
said
you're right.
there were victims?
レナはガラスを割っただけじゃないんですか？
Didn't Rena just break all the windows?
いえ男子生徒が3人ほどリュウグウレナに殴られて
No. Rena Ryugu had attacked 3 boys.
So interesting.
Women.
So interesting that someone can attack 3 people and not get charged with a crime.
金属バットでです。
Using a metal bat.
2人はあざで済みましたが、1人は片目に後遺症を残そう。
2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other one had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged.
それって傷害事件じゃないんですか？
Wouldn't that be considered assault?
警察は逮捕とかしないんですか？
Shouldn't the police have arrested
ど
her?
ういうわけか、被害者が告発しないんですよ。
For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges.
警察に届け出がないので、
There was no report to the police, so he's British now, I guess.
Mhm.
They were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally, there would be a criminal investigation,
Mm-hmm.
but why didn't they press charges?
被害者の男子生徒3人にもそれぞれ話を
I
聞い
tried
てしま
asking
した
the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant.
こう言ってはなんですが、
It's hard to say, but they were all afraid.
彼女が転校した今でも、
Even after she had transferred schools.
大石さん、
Oishi-san,
話を最初から整理して話してくれませんか？
could you summarize it starting from the beginning? Verena hit people while she broke the windows? Or was it she started breaking the windows after she got bored? Why did I start reading so fast?
I don't know.
Or was it she started breaking the windows after she got bored of hitting people?
Also, Project, I hope your stream went well.
Maybe they're not talking because of how traumatized they are from reading this. Maybe. They
Maybe.
read it. They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different.
某月某日
On an undisclosed date,
竜宮レナは親しい男子生徒
Rena
3
Ryugu was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed.
その3人って何者ですか？
Who were those 3?
個人名は伏せますが3人とも竜宮レナととても
I
親しい
can't reveal their names, but they were close to Rena Ryugu, and it seems they were a group of friends.
彼女はこう言ってんだったん
She
です
was a
が
lone girl in the group. So it wasn't that strange that 4 of them were together?
それでどうなったんです？
So what happened?
理由はわかりません
I don't know the reason why.
竜宮レナは
She took the baseball team's bat
野球部のバッ
that
トを
was in the
手に
pool storage shed and beat the 3 of them
3
down
人を
one
次
after
々
the
に殴
other.
り倒しました
What? There were no witnesses?
Hmm.
There were no witnesses. This is an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. At that time, Rena underwent a change. The change was so abrupt that the 3 of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Then, taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends one after the other. Leaving her friends covered in blood, with gashes on their head, she made her way towards the school building. Then she broke the glass windows one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on the scene and subdued her.
レナに起こった変化って何ですか？
What was this change Rena underwent?
3人の証言で一致するのは突然
What
人が
matches
変わ
up
っ
in
た
the statements from the 3 was a sudden change.
表変したという点です
The point of that there was a transformation.
表変
Transformation. I also could recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times before. It was so different from the usual Rena that I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena.
その表変っていうのは
That transformation you're talking about, had it happened before?
いえそういうのは全くなかったそうです
I got it.
If you want to get it, you can get it. Wait a minute.
What's up?
With no context, that sounds weird for me to say. He's just banning someone,
Interesting,
guys,
your
that
brain.
was cheap views that you guys can't see.
Oh, interesting. I don't think you needed to say that. No, there was nothing like that.
私も調べられる限り
As far as I could find out in her medical history in the past, there was nothing like that.
見つけることはできませんでした
そのレナみたいに
Does that happen often where people change suddenly like
結
Rena did?
構あるんですか？
もちろんありますよ
Of course it does.
精神的なものから性
There are
格的な
plenty
も
of
のまでたくさんあるんです
psychological phenomena that could cause something like that.
では
Mhm.
レナには
Then
潜
you're
在的
saying
に
there was a
表現す
dormant
る要素
element
があ
in
った
that
ってこと
in
ですか
Brenna that caused that transformation?
断言はできません
I cannot say that for certain.
ですが竜宮レナをよく
But
知る
according to
友
the
達からの
statements
証
of
言
her
では
friends, it's
とても
hard
彼
to
女にそう
believe
いう
she
要
had
素がある
such
よ
a
うに思い
side to
ます
her. Kind, caring, and adorable. Even before she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and assaulting them with a bat? Who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that was Rina. Even now.
そしてどうなったんですか
Then what happened after that?
学校の正面が病院でしたので3人
There
は
was
す
a
ぐに
hospital
病院
right
に駆け込み
across.
手当てを受けました
Bye, be toxic.
Bye bye. Have a good rest of your day or sleep well. Did you read that?
Give me a second. There was a hospital right across from the school, so 3 of them were carried in and treated quickly.
レナは
What about Rena?
警察は
What about the police?
どうして警察沙汰に
Why
ならなか
wasn't
ったん
there a
ですか
criminal investigation?
Mhm.
警察は呼ばれなければ関与はできませんからね
You know, you see, the police can't get involved unless they're called.
一人は後遺症を残すくらい大怪我したんじゃないんですか
Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage?
どうして訴えないんです
Why didn't they file charges?
私もそこは引っかかりました
That's what caught my attention as well.
何かの圧力もしくは脅迫
Either
が
some threat or pressure was placed on them,
それとも訴えたくても
or they had a
訴え
reason
られ
they
ない
couldn't file
自分が
charges even if they wanted to.
もちろん大石さんのことですから調べたんですよね
We're talking about you after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you?
ねえまあ
Well, yeah.
ですが初めに言いましたよね
But I told you at the beginning, didn't I?
被害者たちの口がとにかく重いのです
Do you want me to speak for Oishi?
That the victims were all very reluctant, sure.
To talk.
触れたがら
They
ない
didn't
という
want
か
to touch on the matter, or rather, they didn't want to be involved.
Reluctant to talk. Didn't want to touch it. Didn't want to be involved. It resembled the villagers here in Oyashima-sama's curse.
学校の先生とかからは
Did the teacher at the school tell you anything?
学校は
A school is hollowed ground. You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see.
じゃあ学校側
Then
は
there was no comment from the school?
いえ
No,
事件の
they
存在
denied the
自体
incident
を
even
否定
happened.
しました
I don't need to read that.
It's just
間違いなく病院
three
に
male students were
三人の
carried in
男子
for
生徒が
blunt
打撲
force
で
trauma
担い
that
で病
day.
院にその記録が
That's
残
all
ってい
there
ます
was in the hospital
被害
records.
者は語らず学校は
The
否定
victims
する
didn't speak. The school denied it happened.
何もわからないじゃないですか
Then you don't know anything at all.
ね
Yeah,
その事
I
件
know
があっ
nothing
た
other
という
than
事実以上
the
の
incident
ことは
itself
何もわか
had taken place.
被害者たちもこの事件が公になることを
The victims
望ん
also
でいません
wished this incident to be kept from the
私と
public.
前原さん
So if you and I both forget about it, Maebara, then this incident will probably just fade away.
そのまま闇に消 消えるでしょうな。
For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case. That was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by roiling waves, sinking quietly into the void as if it never existed to begin with.
その後、学校を謹慎で休
After
学し
that, she was suspended by the school, and during that time, she underwent psychiatric counseling.
その医者からは何か
Did you
聞
hear
いたんで
anything
すか
from the doctor?
これがまた
Again, they were very professional in regards to their ethics, or at least very tight-lipped.
警察手帳を見せてもダメなんですか？
Nothing even after you showed them your badge.
I was told to get a warrant. The badge itself has no legally binding authority after all.
じゃあ大石さんはどうやって
Then how did you know that Rena confessed and not was Yoshiyama then? Oyashida-sama who did it.
There was a nurse I asked in that department. She agreed to help me just from showing her my
そ
badge.
れでなんと
Then what did she say? Turns out the nurse hadn't heard everything. Apparently all she remembered was that what she overheard from inside the room.
看護師さんが言うには、その時の竜宮レナはとても淡々としていて、
The nurse said that at that time, Runa Ryugu was very calm and mild-mannered.
It was more like she was confessing her sins at a church than a counseling session. She spoke with her mother there for some of it, but partway through, her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a
例
while.
の親代様の話は
The part with Oyashida-sama, when did that pop
途
up?
中です。
Partway
そ
through,
の名前を
she
突然叫ん
screamed
だ
the name suddenly. That startled the nurse, and that's why she started listening in. It was Oyashiro-sama!
Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning could have been behind it. The doctor calmly and collectedly asked Rena to have a seat.
そのお社様というのは何ですか？
What
What
is-
is this Oyashida-sama you speak of? Gently, ever so gently. Fundamental part of counseling is to be good patient listener.
Whoever abandons Namizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama. And it's finally gotten to me.
竜宮さんが今のお家に引っ越される前に住んでいた町ですね。
That's the town you lived in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryuga-san?
I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to. But Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it.
竜宮さんはきっとひなみ沢にもお友達がたくさんいた
But
んですよね。
Ryuga-san must have lots of friends in
今で
Hinamizawa.
も懐かしいんじゃないですか？
Even now, you must be missing them dearly, don't you think?
I want to go back. Back to Hinamizawa. No, it's not that I want to go back. I have to go back. I should have gone back much sooner. But now it's too late. Oyashiro-sama has come.
お社様というのはそのひなみ沢の神様。
Oyashida-sama is the name of a god in Hinamizawa, right? Isn't that right?
Everyone knows it's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. And if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur its wrath.
竜宮さんが引っ越しをされたのはもう
Deity.
随分前ですよね。
You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you?
では今になってその神様がやって
Then
きた
it was just now
ということですか？
that this god has arrived, is what you're saying.
You may not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists.
That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered.
Bum, 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 bum.
お社様がか
That it was Oyashida-sama's doing, right?
確かに
I do believe there is that kind of superstition in Hinamizawa.
里を捨て
That if you leave the village, then you'll incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath.
この辺りは
You should be familiar with this part, Maebara-san.
I knew very well what those scorned by the village incurred. To enter the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. Then, the following year, Sadako's parents, supporters, and leading advocates for the dam were cursed to their death.
Mm.
But this was the first time I've heard the curse incurred by leaving the village.
初耳です。
This is my first time hearing that.
村の外敵がたたられるのは
I can understand outside threats being cursed by the village, but why also villagers who leave?
普通出ていくものはたたられないものじゃないんですか？
Normally, people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? I know it's a bit strange to say, but I could see it as a rule that people who would come in are the ones who would get cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. Curses weren't something to chase after the people that leave, were they? Oishi-san pondered for a bit over on the other end of the receiver, then began speaking again.
Well, I told you of long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, didn't I?
I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of demons.
The villagers at the foot of the mountains worshipped the demons. So Onigafuchi was hallowed ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Those who set foot in Onigafuchi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that. Oh, that's not... I totally thought that was still Oishi talking.
Wait, go to the log.
Is it?
No, but
Hinamizawa would be cursed. I could understand that.
それはわかります。
Sorry.
I know that.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
でも
You're
出てい
fine.
くのまでダメってのは
But for leaving to also be no good, that's...
Also, the demons, you see. They were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama so they would not enter into our world. In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onigafuchi and the rest of the world.
I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was.
つまり親代様ってのは
So
守り神っていう
basically,
よりも
Oyashiro-sama is more like a warden than a protectorate deity, I guess.
この地を外界から隔離しようとする
Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world.
I guess that's how it would seem. I'm sorry, I don't know very much myself. This is mostly what was passed on to me from my mother.
I could understand a bit better if it was like that. Those who came into Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed. So, because Rena originally lived in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed.
つまりレナは望まない引っ越しをし
So
た
that
ため
means that Rena,
親
because
代様の
moved
ため
away,
にあったと
so that
そう
means
話して
because
いるわけですか
Rena moved away, against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Is that what it adds up to?
要約するとそういう意味なんでしょうな。
In short, that seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterward, they did move back to Hinamizawa after all.
Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed. But then, why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and have been cursed? Also, in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming in and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then that'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big. It wasn't a big of a deal at all. I got it. At most, there would be one person dying and one person disappearing on the day of Wada Nagashi. I don't like saying at most though.
まあとにかく
Well,
わ
anyways,
からないことだらけ
there's
だ
a
けど
lot
さ
I still don't know.
親代様の
Even if it
計りが
was
どうだったり
Oyashiro-sama's
さ
curse, it doesn't explain
ガスライ
Rena
ト
beating
眷
her
属だった
classmates with a
り
metal
理由には
bat,
なりませんよ
or why the victims
被
wouldn't
害
press
者が訴えた
charges.
さが前原
You
さ
don't
ん
think
の
the victims
恐
were
ろしいたたり
cowering
が起こ
because
って
they believed that a
被害者
terrible
たちが
curse had
すくみ上がっ
befallen
た
them, do you?
なんてこと信じるわけないですよね
Of course, I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I had just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse and went missing. I had recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with the metal bat right before he disappeared, just like me. Then Rena as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse, she confessed that much to the doctor. And the weapon she had used at the time of the horrendous act was, again, a metal bat. Finally me. I'd encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding on to a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be had the same thing happen to Rena. There was one critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. An ad. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here.
How are you liking the story, huh? What are you thinking?
I feel like the metal bat thing is just feeling so forced right now because every school is going to have a metal bat because in Japan, baseball is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost bigger in Japan than it is in America, which is crazy.
It's much bigger in Japan.
Yeah. And so I feel like, is it weird that the first weapon you think of that would be in a school to protect yourself at school? Well, protect quotation. The first thing you're going to think of is a metal bat, right? You're not going to have a cleaver. You're not going to have a knife. You're not going to have a hatchet. You're not going to have a sword, a katana. It's going to be a bat. And the bat is the most sturdy weapon you can find at a school because baseball. Or gardening tools. Maybe if there's a groundskeeper, you could get like a scythe. I feel like that's too big for a child.
Keiichi's like 14, 15, I don't really know how old, but like canonically speaking, I believe that right now he's like 13, 14, around that age, so those aren't too big for him, I don't believe at the moment.
They are. Well, maybe I'm thinking of
how
a different
tiny how tiny were you when you were that age? Because I was tall. I was big kid.
I know, but like scythes are huge. And it's not just the height. When I was younger, I was weaker. Even if I was almost as tall as I am now. I was just weaker. You know, when you're small, when you're little, you don't have the muscles you do when you grow up.
True.
Your muscles develop.
But we're also talking about in this universe, right? Rika, who is like probably 4 years younger, maybe 5 years younger, she's much younger than Keiichi, is wielding a hoe. Like a large metal hoe that is used for like
Wielding and using are two different things.
she was using it. Do you not remember the Watsunagashi?
I don't feel like that's possible.
Oh my.
A 9 to 10-year-old fully being capable of holding a hoe over her head to use as a weapon.
She wasn't using it as a weapon.
And Scythe and Hose are smaller than Scythe.
Depends on what
They
scythe
are.
you're talking about.
Oh my god.
But okay. Ad break's over. Oh.
I read that.
Yes.
Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashida-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings.
Mm.
And finally, me. About to die to a girl with a cleaver. I wouldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi. Finally me. Oh, but the four people that are tied to the Watanagashi the most and the happenings in the Watanagashi are... Nah, it's not a coincidence. I mean, that's a coincidence. That's just a coincidence. They're just friends.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like this is just such a stupid thing to think about.
Okay,
Like
just
all the bad. What? Oh my god. Could it be that I was really under Oyashida-sama's curse right now? No. More importantly than that, what should I do now? Toshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Fine? Rena had undergone a change. I could only believe that there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here right now, it was standing before me.
レナ、教えてくれ。
Rena, please tell me,
俺はどうなるんだよ。
what will happen to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering.
サトシは消えた。
Satoshi disappeared,
だけどレナは消えなかった。
but Rena didn't disappear.
じゃあ俺はどうなる
So
んだ
what
よ。
will happen to me? I never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. I was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling.
大丈夫だよ。
don't worry.
レナが助けてあ
I'll save
げ
you.
るから。
Rena took one step forward, still holding the hatchet high above her head.
さあ、
Now then.
One step closer, Rena's face spread out to fill my vision.
話して。
Speak.
One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine and was still pushing closer.
話したいことがあ
There's
る
something you want to say, isn't there?
レナ
I'll listen.
じゃあ助けてあげる
I'll save
から
you. Okay?
話してね。
Speak. Okay?
話してね。
Speak. Okay?
It slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter in. Because when that laughing ended, the moment I picked up on that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast I couldn't believe it and pushed Rena away with both hands. Rena was light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the hatchet, she was sent backwards as if she'd been carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena. Run away. Survive. I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running away, I remembered I'd been holding onto a bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even further down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my lungs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of this. I could hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. It rang through the trees in my head and slowly chiseled away at my sanity.
It's so bright.
The grove of the trees thinned out and my field of vision suddenly expanded. Where was this? For a moment I was bewildered by the scenery I felt I knew but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realized it was the damn site. The fact that I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling. I was following someone's scripted plot. You are very interesting, I'll tell you that. I had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here. Thank you, Dat Clover, for hydrate.
Did you drink your water, Jeff? What was that? What do you mean? What? Do you not have any water?
No. I just feel so... not tired, but... Hold on. I don't know. This was a terrible spot for someone on the run. There was no better place for an attacker. My heart was already on edge, on the verge of bursting. The muscles in my legs were screaming, but I didn't care. If I stopped here, then they might not even be able to scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back, looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw two villagers walking around. I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes. Empty-handed, they definitely gave the impression that they were just all out for a walk.
Do you want to resume this next week? Are you tired?
No.
Alright. Do you want me to talk for a while?
No. But at this time of day, two adults wandering around without a purpose, it was enough to raise questions. But more than anything, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking, they were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope? I had finally started imagining things. I should have run away. I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up to me. That's right. I was going to run. Deciding that, the moment I began to turn tail, Both of them rushed towards me as if they knew exactly what I was thinking. Somewhere inside me, I had jumped to the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need to fear anything else. But right now I realized that was just how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly the story of Oishi-san told me about the demons all leaving the village to hunt prey floated through the back of my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me without even turning around because of their frantic footsteps. It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me, but this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, this straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuer's arms grazed my shoulder. Now, it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of their breathing that I could hear. I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Higurashi. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. Now it felt like time itself had stopped. I turned my head back slightly in a frozen world, realizing how close the pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the legs of an adult. In less than the time it would take me to blink twice, when this frozen image began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. On top of me, and then... Don't think about that, Keiichi. First, realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact you can't get away was a given, then you need to make a decision. Go with the right leg, or go with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst into pieces. Right. Left. I swung the bat in a wide arc with my right arm. Using that inertia, I stopped it suddenly spun.
No.
The two of them were clearly startled. Momentarily losing sight of me, both their outstretched arms ready to grab me instead grasped at empty space. The man on the right, who I applaud him being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was just extend my arm as I turned around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a frightening stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk, they were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made things easier. I smiled wryly on the inside. What do you want with me? Next one is going to be right in your face, you bastard. It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond. They spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore in my body. And I just had to settle it with the first move. I'd step in and strike the first one down, narrowing my target down to the man on the right who had already been knocked down before I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bone would snap like a twig. If they turned their back to it, then it was possible for the blow to travel all the way to their vital organs. Looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered a fist right into my gut. Not good with this distance, in this position, in this state. There was no way for me to dodge it. The world flipped upside down. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil pressed against my face. It didn't hurt at all. The moment I thought that, I suddenly felt the pain coming from aberrations on my skin, as well as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have time to relish in this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could, but at that moment the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing into my stomach full force again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his thin arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled or that I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened and a silent whining noise began playing deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel like that he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake this arm off me, I couldn't run, I couldn't fight back. Dire straits, I couldn't even come up with a phrase that adequately described the situation. Higurashi when they cry.
Oh, my head is spinning. Good news, though.
What's up?
The chapter's almost done.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
A familiar ceiling. The smell of the bed and the pillows, I know them well. Is this my room? Normally there wouldn't be anything in the room besides me, but their presence made me spring wide awake. When I did that, pain shot through my entire body.
Feeling alright? I think you'd better just lie down for a bit.
I was running in my room. Blood began to surge through my muscles and my capillaries. Lorena's smile belonged to the Rena I knew well.
The cat is crying outside my door.
It's because it knows Rena's on the screen.
Oh my goodness.
I knew I shouldn't let myself feel this way, but I relaxed thinking that this version of Rena was safe.
俺はどうして
Why am I?
Don't you remember?
意識がなくなってからのことは全然
After losing consciousness, not at all. My body had become more lethargic than I could ever imagine. I guess that would be the expected outcome after exerting everything I had back there. I tried to at least clear my head, but I just couldn't shake this sluggish feeling out of my mind.
I called the doctor. He should be here soon. I think you'd better just lie down until then.
I wasn't injured seriously enough to merit calling a doctor. But knowing that someone impartial was coming was slightly reassuring.
俺どうしてここにいるんだ？
Why am I here?
確かダム現場で
I'm sure I was at the dam site.
That's what I want to know. What happened? When I got there, Keiichi-kun was already passed out.
だから聞きたいのは俺の方だよ。
That's why I'm the one who wants to know.
変な二人組に襲われて
I was attacked by two weirdos. As I talked about it, I finally remember what happened right before I passed out. Recalling that memory and the terror that went along it caused the fogginess around my head to clear right up. Let's forget about those two for now. I didn't expect Rena to be nursing me. I thought Rena was trying to kill me. She would have had a perfect chance while I was unconscious. Not only did she not kill me, she had nursed me back to health.
よく俺を引きずってここまで来れたな。
Amazing you could drag me all the way here.
重かったろ。
Wasn't I heavy? Looking at Rena's delicate frame, it was hard to believe that she had not only gotten me back home, but even dragged me all the way up to the second floor. Did she have some help? Me on or something?
Don't you remember, Keiichi-kun?
Rena appeared a bit surprised, but still kept her smile.
I only propped you up on my shoulder. You said you could walk on your own and that you were fine. You don't remember?
I didn't remember. My memory was fuzzy after that point, where I lost consciousness.
二人組はどうした？
What about those two?
レナが来た時、俺と一緒に、あるいはそばに。
You got there, Rena. The ones with me, or rather those two guys.
There wasn't anyone.
She said it bluntly. The way she stated it felt slightly unpleasant. I was just too timid at that time. I might have been able to force some answers out of Rena. But if I did that, then this kind of Rena might transform into the scary Rena who I didn't know. Fearing that, I didn't press any further. Thinking about it, it was the obvious choice. If both of those men were there, I don't think Rena would have stood a chance. I couldn't find a way to explain it unless I assumed she brought me here after those two were already gone. Rena was still smiling. Her eyes sparkled warmly. Yet, it felt like I was hallucinating when I saw something. Something akin to a shadow slowly creeping across her face. That small omen shivers down my spine. And while Rena was still Rena, I needed to make contact. I needed to contact Oishi-san. Rena stopped me when I tried to get out of bed. She said it would agitate my wounds, so I should sleep.
トイレに行きたいんだけどな。
I'd like to go to the bathroom, though.
Sorry.
Rena couldn't say anything else. While Rena stayed in the room, I quickly went downstairs to get the phone receiver in the living room. When I approached the front door, the doorbell rang, ding-dong. Must have been a doctor Rena had called. It was strange for a patient to welcome in the doctor who was making a house call. But it would be incredibly reassuring to have him here. For the considerable time it would take Oishi-san to get here. Carelessly opened the door with a simple assumption and regretted it almost instantly.
ミオン
Mion?
あれ
Oh.
元気そうだね
You look just fine. I heard you collapsed, so I came to check up on you.
なんで俺が倒れてたって知ってるんだよ
How did you know I collapsed?
レナが電話してきたか
I
ら
heard from Rena over the phone.
他に理由が必要
Do I need any reason other than that?
Understood. I understood why she called a doctor. Why she would call a doctor. But why Mion too? Rena was still descending the stairs behind me.
レナケイちゃん大丈夫
Rena,
そうだ
doesn't Kei-chan look pretty alright?
ったく
Gee, she made me worry for nothing.
そうだね
That's true.
レナも心配
Maybe I
してさ
worried for nothing as well.
They both began laughing. It appeared to be cheerful laughter, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was darkness looming over them.
うわ
What?
何この
What's up with this shoe rack?
どうしてたの
How did it get like this?
The shoe rack that I smashed to pieces had been like that since yesterday.
転んでさ
I fell, you see.
その拍子に持ってたバットで叩いちゃったんだ
The
よ
bat I was holding at the time slammed into it.
持ち慣れないもん振り回
This
し
is
て
what
るから
happens when you
こういうことに
spin
なる
around
んだよ
something you're not used to handling. Oof. I'm gonna re-say that sentence because I feel like I messed it up. This is what happens when you swing around something you're not used to handling.
I kept the fact that it was none of her business to myself.
でもこれじゃ
Believing it like this will really startle your parents when they get home.
後でレナが片付けて
I'll
おくね
fix it up for you later.
さあほら
Now,
ケイちゃん
come on, Kei-chan.
重病人なんだから
The
ちゃんと寝てないとダメだよ
terminally ill need their rest.
さあ
Come,
お布団
come.
に戻った戻った
Back in bed, back in bed.
Both of them urged me upstairs. I had no chance to call Oishi-san. I was pushed into my bed. As it was the first time Mion had been in my room, she began searching around intently. Oh.
What?
Hopefully she doesn't see anything wrong with that clock. She fiddled around my room and was scolded by Rena. You can imagine how it went. It was uncomfortable having my room poked around, but the conversation was so benign that it was heartwarming. During that innocent conversation, Mion said something as though it was perfectly ordinary.
レナ
Rena,
監督には電話
did you call the director?
うん
Yep,
みーちゃんに電話した後すぐ
right
だね
after I called Michan.
すぐ来るって言ってたよ
He said he'd be right over.
Director? That out of word place gave me a bad feeling. Rena called a doctor. Then called Mion. After that she called a director? Who is this director? Since Rena and Mion's conversation was so peaceful, it only felt slightly odd.
二人とも何の話をしてるんだよ
What are you two talking about?
監督ってなんだよ
Who's this director?
ケイちゃん知んないの
Didn't you know, Kei-chan?
監督って言ったら監督
I
だ
mean the
わ
director when we say director.
映画の監督とか
Like the director of a movie.
工事現場
Or
の
like a foreman of the construction site.
I dug through all my memories for a good director that could have had business with me. Only one thing came to mind. Verena had just said. The construction site foreman. The very first victim of the first incident. The dismemberment at the damn construction site, the foreman? But that was strange. He was supposed to be dead. There was no way they would call him. They could call him.
お前らが何の話をしてるのかわからないよ。
What do you mean they could call him?
What?
You said they could call him.
I said that's because I fucking said what the game told me to say. I don't understand what you guys are talking about.
その監督が俺と何か関係あるのか？
What does that director have to do with me?
来るって言ったけど、うち
You
に来
said
る
he
の
was
か？
coming. Did you mean to my house? I asked one obvious question after another. But all the two of them did was smile coolly at each other. There was a huge difference between how the two of them appeared and how my suspicions were playing out. Slowly, I felt discomfort and panic welling up inside me. I could understand what Rena and Mion were talking. I couldn't understand what Rena and Mion were talking about.
ケイちゃん、最近
Kei-chan,
は野球
you've
に凝っ
gotten
て
into
るんだよ
baseball
ね
lately, haven't you?
監督。
Pretty
そ
sure
れ
the
聞いた
director
ら
will
喜
be
ぶ
happy to hear
と思
that.
うな。
だから監督って誰だよ？
So who's the director?
Director's the director.
だから監督って
So
誰
who's
だ
the
よ？
director?
So, do you want me to use some context right here? Because it makes sense in Japanese, but we don't speak Japanese, right? So we don't know the joke or the thing that's happening.
Sure.
Okay, so in the Japanese language, coach and director are interchangeable apparently. You can say the same word and it can mean two different things.
Uh-huh.
It can mean coach or director.
Okay.
That's all.
Alright. Ren and Mion looked at each other and laughed haughtily. The disturbing cackle unpleasantly resounded around me. That laugh, long enough to be unsettling, ended abruptly.
そうだ、
Oh yeah,
監督が来る
we
まで
should finish up before the director
ケイ
comes.
ちゃん、
You remember, don't you, Kei-chan?
Her face was laughing, but Mion's eyes told a different story.
覚えてるって何をだよ？
Remember what?
Kei-chan.
君忘れちゃったのか
Had he forgotten, I
な
wonder?
罰ゲームなの
About the penalty?
罰ゲーム
About the
なの
penalty?
忘れちゃったの
Did you
か
really forget?
おはぎの宿
The
題
homework with the
ど
mochi?
れがレナの
The
作った
homework
お
where
はぎ
you
か
were supposed to
当てる
guess which
宿
one
題
Rena made?
あれ
You forgot
確
about
か
that
宿題
homework,
忘れ
didn't
だ
you?
ったよね
I certainly did have that homework. But I had thrown away the rest of the mochi after I found that sewing needle. I wasn't able to answer which one Rena had made. The penalty for that? Why now? Now, no doubt my question was written all over my face. The answer to my question was that dry laughter. I could no longer make heads or tails of anything. I began to think that this entire day was somehow insane. Strange. Incomprehensible. Being chased by Rena? Attacked by strange men? Penalty Mion and Rena were talking about. What were these two laughing at? It didn't take long for me to realize I had been dragged into an abnormal situation. Who were these two? Who were these people? Were they doppelgangers of Rena and Mion? Rena had gotten up behind me at some point. Why was she pinning my arms behind my back?
何の真似だよ。
What are you doing?
動かないでね。
Don't move.
罰ゲーム
This is your penalty.
My body was already sluggish, very sluggish. And Rena pinning my arms made it much harder to move. I seriously tried to struggle, but she wouldn't even budge. My panic began to well up, and I realized that there was well beyond the realm of jokes and pleasantries. This freakishly monstrous strength. It should have been impossible for Rena that I knew. For the Rena that I knew. And these thin, frail arms grasping me firmly. Whose arms were they?
ケイちゃん
Kei-chan, no struggling. Club rule number, it doesn't matter which one. You can't fight against the penalty.
Mion, no. That thing that looked like Mion spoke to me like how Mion would speak to me. But I was certain that that was not Mion. Someone who wasn't Mion, someone who was just pretending to be Mion.
We need to finish this up before the director comes.
Mion fished in her pockets and pulled out something bizarre. I could tell what it was just by looking, but if for such a thing to be in her pocket, my mind wouldn't accept it.
なんだよ。それ。
What is that? It was a small syringe. It was a small, clear syringe that a kind of doctor might use if he went to them with a high fever. Rena held me even tighter, and I could hear the clattering laughter that it no longer sounded like laughter blaring into my ear. It was something, that eerie laughter. It wasn't something that Rena and I knew. It wasn't something that the Rena I knew could ever produce from her own throat.
Do you want me to read for a while?
You're fine. This thing that was pretending to be Rena, was this her real laugh? Was this their real laugh? Unable to defend myself, the syringe Mion was holding drew closer. That needle tip was waved in front of my face countless times.
Don't worry, don't worry. It won't hurt, it won't hurt.
何をする気だよ。
What are you planning on doing?
これは一体何の真似だよ。
What kind of sick joke is this?
What are you saying, Kei-chan? You know exactly what's going on, don't you?
何が。
About what?
俺には何が何やらさっぱり
I don't understand any of this at all.
I know you know. No use playing the fool this late in the game.
わけのわからないことを言って。
Stop talking nonsense to try and confuse me.
You're going to have done to you what happened to Tomitake-san.
Jesus fucking Christ. What? The same as Tomitake-san. I didn't really understand what she meant. Wouldn't understand what she meant. What did they have to do with a syringe? You're playing dumb. Oh.
If you want to read Verona, you can. I don't want you to read all the parts because I feel like it might make your throat hurt. You're playing dumb, Keiichi-kun. You should have realized it by now.
Rena whispered into my ear, laughing as if to admonish me. But even the way she spoke was repulsive beyond compare. Playing dumb? Me? About what? What do you mean the same as Tomitake-san? That's it? Oh.
Everyone
thought at first. Everyone thought at first that it was a hit and run. Except when the officer got closer to check if he was still alive, he soon noticed it wasn't a normal situation. His
引き
throat was
裂かれてい
scratched
たん
out
ですよ。
ナイフとか
from a knife or something.
いいえ、
No
爪でした。
nails. Nails? Nails isn't fingernails? Oh, give me a second.
I'll give
With
you all the
those-
seconds.
Get gouged through? That's right. Tomotaki-san had clawed out his own throat with his own nails and died. There's no way someone could die like that. So then, for that to happen,
薬物を疑いましたが、そうい
you
う
thought
類
drugs
の
were
も
to
のは
blame,
提
but
出
nothing
で
of
き
that
ません
nature
で
was
した。
detected. That's right. Police didn't find any drugs in Tomotaki-san's system.
警察は富武さんの遺体から薬物は検出
Did
でき
the
なかった
police
って
told
言
me
った
they
ぞ
didn't find any drugs in Tomotaki-san's body? What the fuck is that?
I'm gonna
So
say
they
that's
laughed
probably what it
together
was.
with that sickening laughter. Of course they'd laugh. To assume that such a medicine didn't exist just because the police didn't know about it was completely foolish. Meaning the drug that caused Tomotaki-san to die in such a bizarre manner did exist. If Mion injected this into me, that would probably be all the proof I needed. That'd basically mean I ended up the same as Tomotaki-san. Become hysterical, scratching out my throat in my last moments, then die. For such an outrageous drug to exist. For Mion to be holding it. And that I was about to be injected with it. In that moment, I did not feel like there was any need whatsoever to question it. What kind of idiot, when he's trying to dodge a ball flying straight for his face, has time to think of a reason as why it's flying at him?
観念しなって。
Just give up, alright then?
Mion's actions lacked any gravitas, and that made it even more terrifying. There was none of her ceremony like when someone is sentenced to death. There was no hesitation at all, as if she were brushing her teeth. Mion reached out with one hand and grabbed onto my chest. Felt like electricity had run through the back of my head, and an entire world had gone dark. Did I stand up too fast? Or did someone hit me really hard in the back of the head? Having lost my sense of balance, I was assaulted by a wave of dizziness.
Let's get bright. Let's get bright. Shield your eyes.
What? I squatted down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, my entire room had changed drastically. The numbness in my head was gone, and slowly I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long I had been squatting here? How many minutes? Has it been hours? It was almost as if the hands on the clock had stopped moving the entire time my eyes were closed. That's how little time passed. Really? The air in the room wasn't filled with that madness from before. Only a dull silence. Rena wasn't there pinning my arms, and Mion wasn't there about to inject me with a needle. No way. Could it be all of it was a hallucination? There was no other presence in the room besides my own. It was the weirdest experience I've ever had. I was certainly with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized with some sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was a hallucination. Neither Rena nor Mion, they would never do something so terrible. My head grew hot. I couldn't tell my emotions were welling up. Why? That wasn't a reason to cry. Why? It was sorrow. Why was I sad? I couldn't understand. I don't understand. Kind to everyone, not discriminating against age or gender. Mion. That Mion was sprawled by the window in an unnatural pose. Blood stained her deep red and from her head down to her chest. The bright crimson smeared on the walls, that splatter had undoubtedly come from Mion. She always had that bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Rena. That same Rena was slumped at my feet and was making the same pool of blood as Mion. I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? Did they beat those two down with this metal bat? I finally noticed a weight in my right hand. How long it had been there? It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in a deep red. There was no doubt that this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. And I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house. What? Looking at this objectively, I couldn't think anyone other than myself who could have done it.
俺が
I did this.
やったのか
That's right. Keiichi Maebara. Of course I did it. I told myself gently, as if coaxing myself. Hey, me. There's no reason for you to remember it, nor is there need to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you?
違う違う
But the blood,
こんなに
there's so much. Neither Rena nor Mion moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead and a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with just 2 or 3 strikes.
死んじまったのか
Are they dead?
二人とも
Both of them? The depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicking and agitated. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once, twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. Calm down. I chanted that over and over in my head and relaxed. Color came back to my vision and smells infused the air. At the same time, I remembered what happened when I blacked out. Mion and Rena had attacked me. They were about to inject me with whatever caused the symptoms as Tomotaki-san. But right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Rena as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot as hard as I could into Mion's torso. It was soft. But Rena tried jumping onto me, so I tackled her as hard as I could and slammed her against the wall. I didn't let that brief moment, having them off balance, slip by. Satoshi's bat that was left carelessly by the side of my desk. Is this what's gonna? It's gonna be a callback to the very beginning of the chapter.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
uh,
That moment, everything went pitch black.
you're misremembering the beginning of the chapter a little bit, but yes.
It's been like 2 months.
I know.
There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape of my mind. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that there was nothing recorded. It was recorded just fine. Just the other me inside myself had told me to look, not to look, and had turned off the TV. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see didn't mean that the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV was just off, the video was still playing. So what do you mean I misremembered it?
So,
like, during it was like the noises and then the person that taught, like the screen was talking, like the thoughts, and it was saying like the person keeps apologizing or something like that.
So, the start of the chapter starts off someone thinking, and we do hear the wave of a bat, right? And then the next thing that happens is that we transition to a train station, and we meet Keiichi, and he's saying, "Oh, I can hear
No.
someone apologizing." Yes.
I Hmm.
It's okay. We will eventually watch the anime, and it has kind of the same thing. It doesn't. I don't. It kind of has the same thing. It's a little bit different. It's an interesting thing with this game is that none of the games are the same. They're all just a little bit different, even if it's just a little bit different. But, yeah, it starts out with us hearing the bat and hearing someone thinking. And then we stop hearing the bat and we transition to a train station and train tracks. And then we hear Keiichi thinking. Well, we hear another person thinking, we don't know it's Keiichi yet, about how he can hear someone apologizing. And that the person who they're apologizing to should just forgive them already. There's nothing they could have done that was that bad that they can't forgive them.
It was because he talked about the person thinking at the beginning was talking about a person repeating the same thing over and over again. That's what reminded me of the sorry, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's
the same thing. She's saying I'm sorry. It's probably gonna if it doesn't show us She's got to say it because he talks about it. Her repeating the same thing over and over again.
Who's
Or
saying it?
or maybe he's repeating the same thing over and over again.
It's possible.
But somebody's repeating the same thing over and over again. It's either a callback. It's gonna be the callback to the night where she's standing outside the window, because he was saying something repeatedly, and she was saying "I'm sorry" repeatedly. So I don't know if she can be saying "I'm sorry" while getting fucking face blasted, but
No, I don't believe she can.
tape within me creaking along, still playing. But maybe he's thinking of her saying it. On the other hand, on the other end of the pitch black screen, that horrifying video was still playing on. Compared to this, though, this is the scene right before my eyes. Was still difficult to take in. Was still so difficult to take in. There was blood splattered everywhere on the walls. The two of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. I couldn't even tell if they were breathing. No matter what the circumstances were, my friends, these girls I had attacked them. I may have even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been the one done for. Balancing that out on an imaginary scale, it felt odd that I'd even been able to. It felt odd that I'd even feel bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was justifiable self-defense.
Mm-hmm. Self-defense.
The proof was all there. The two of them collapsed here, and me on syringe filled with some unknown drug would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Tomotaki-san. And from the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after the other. They're fucking dead. Still, I might be suspected for this. That was just fine. Anyway, now this should be a police affair. This wouldn't fade into darkness like Rena's past incidents. Dude, everybody believes in Oyashida-sama, dog. Fuck. As long as the police were involved, that should bring this to a close. They'd probably revisit their investigation on the chain of incidents. Baloney. Oishi-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish of not wanting to die, of wanting to know the truth, that would be fulfilled in its most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. The Dr. Rena called should be getting here soon. I'll confess everything to him. I needed to contact Oishi-san. At that moment I remembered the director. Besides the doctor, a director had been called. It was easy to imagine that they were someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Mion and Rena's conversation. The ache in my chest caused by the gruesome deed I'd done dissipated rapidly. It was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Stay calm, Kichi Maibara. It's not over yet. I needed to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment, I felt like I heard someone's weird voice from outside. Since people were talking, it must mean that there was more than one person. I moved the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They were very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the damn site today. Those two might even be among them. There was one person there wearing a white coat, but he didn't look like a doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as a doctor. That guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door. Pretend to be a doctor to get me to open the door, and then the rest of them would all rush in at once. At that moment, I saw a car parked behind the men, and my heart nearly skipped a beat. Was it Oishi?
The
van
white
killed her.
van.
Almost. The white van.
That's crazy. White van out of nowhere again?
I mean, white vans are always going to be next to children, let's be honest.
Oh my god.
No mistaking it. That van, the one that had tried to run me down. The man in the white coat entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. I probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they'd just break the window and enter. I needed to get out of here somehow. Then use a public phone to contact Oishi-san. Then meet up somewhere. First of all, I need a weapon. Then shoes. Before all of that, there was one thing I had to do. I had no intention of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth of this nonsensical curse of Oyashiro-sama. But what would happen from here on, regardless of how determined I was, may bring about my demise. And that was why? There was one thing more important than getting out of here right now. Taking that damn syringe as evidence. I need to get that clock out quickly and take down the note. Give me a second.
Okay.
I need to get that clock out quickly and take the note hidden behind it. Damn it. Tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I opened up the slightly torn note and began writing another passage with a ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able to inform Oishi-san, then the only thing I could do was rely on this note. I never thought a piece of torn college-ruled notebook paper could be this reliable before. I had no time. I'd only write what I knew right now. I needed to leave some sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Renette and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. This was an undeniable fact. I still didn't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all this information that would help lead them to finding the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. Also, there was an unidentified person known as the director. To begin with, the term director didn't even mesh with Hanamizawa at all. If all they were going to include the directors from the past incidents, then the only one is the construction foreman, the victim from the first murder. The very first victim in the chain of incidents. Killed in a lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. Police should have confirmed that death. But Ren and Mion did both call him director. He said director. They wouldn't use that term to refer to someone who was dead. The police would have never even conceived that someone who was deceased could be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know. But even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Oishi-san.
Oishi-san certainly will have a bunch of hints. Hey Poncho.
That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. It wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but the start of a string of mysteries, deaths that would follow, so then there must be something hidden there. Please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. His death should have been established after an autopsy. But logically, you would think as much. That was really the case? Was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I shouldn't jump to conclusions. But he may still be alive. I had no time to ponder that right now. Oh yeah, there's something even more important needed to write. Damataki-san's death was from an unknown drug. That's right. That drug, it was a irreplaceable piece of evidence. No doubt just by having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave that vital clue lying on the floor. This syringe is proof, but the boom, it's empty. Writing that down, I stuck the syringe onto the back of the clock with plenty of tape. So it would absolutely not slip out and fall on the floor firmly. Ding dong. Bell rang. They were here. Couldn't write anymore. But even still, there was one last thing I needed to write. I have no idea why it has become like this. This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I've wrote on this note. If you're reading this, then I'm probably already dead. And though you may or may not find the body, my body, if I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from the curse, or being demoned away, you who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. With this, my last will and testament was complete. It wasn't certain that I was going to die, but it was my final plea, just in case. I folded the note, stuck it to the back on the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. Couldn't help but pray. Oishi-san, if something happens to me, I leave the rest to you. After that, I gazed down silently at Rena and Mion. This was probably the last time we'd ever see each other. Rena. Mion.
俺
I
みんなのこと本当
really
に
had
友
thought
達
all
だ
of
と
us
思っ
were
てたんだ
friends.
ぜ
Why did it end up like this? I never had any fun in my previous school. I only worried about standardized test scores, about if the school I hoped to get into was where I really wanted to go, or a safety net. That was all I talked about. It was a dual life. People I called friends were also my rivals in studying, in competitions, in personal records, and standardized test scores. Everyone here taught me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month was really fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over the club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping from my face. Uncontrollable tears. I should have no obligation to shed tears for them. They wouldn't stop. Even if they were after my life, even if they were trying to kill me, everything that happened this month I wouldn't forget. Or could it be those happy days or a facade as well. Was it all a trap? Meticulously orchestrated up until today to ensnare me? Could it have been just I had just arbitrarily assumed that they were my friends? That couldn't have been the case. Both Rena and Mion, they were really my friends. Those happy days. There was nothing fake or unclear about them. Something probably forced them to try to kill me. Or their minds were taken over, possessed by the supernatural entity known as Oyashida-sama. Regardless, both Rena and Mion, they were the best friends ever. And when they were coming after me, it wasn't of their own volition. But they weren't the kind of people to sell off their friends, no matter what means were employed to force them. And there was no way such a thing as being possessed by Oyashida-sama could happen in reality. Then did the real Mion and Rena come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly, dumb idea. Having beaten down both Rena and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There was no real or fake. Only the reality that was before me. Rena and Mion were sprawled out at my feet, and that was the only truth. I was only trying to twist the facts to my benefit that I had beaten my friends to death. No matter how I spun it, it wouldn't change reality. Rena and Mion were both dead. I felt like there was a crack in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. It felt like my calm state, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded, and then that opening insanity was leaking out. I killed them.
You want me to read for a while?
A while?
We're at the end here, but yeah, because I told you earlier, an hour ago, that we were nearly done. I'm sorry. I underestimated.
I killed them. Rena and Mion. I killed them. Doorbell rang again. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure once again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever and whatever had pushed me to this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would definitely survive. I killed Rena for that very reason. I also killed Mion. I went that far just to keep living. So I can't die. For my sake and the sake of the late Rena and Mion, I have to survive. I ran to the door, grabbed my shoes, the doorbell rang again as if to urge me on. Behind this single solitary door, they were there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen. Headed towards the back door. Before opening the door, I put my ear to it and checked for people outside. No one? After I put my shoes on, I opened the door slowly to make sure not to make a sound. There he is, the back door. Piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on end. I had to run. Get out of here, Keiichi. One after the other, I felt stuff like rationale and intelligence, those things those things you use when you have time to spare, spill out of me. Didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arm and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else it desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever. So of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran. Just recklessly rushing in the direction I was already heading. Even if nobody was chasing after me, I'd still be running like this. There wasn't thought in my mind where I was headed. Turning around, I felt a presence right next to me. Their presence was without a doubt chasing me like a shadow. If I took even one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought. So I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran. Full speed.
Full speed. Break.
That was the chirping of the Higurashi telling me it was evening. Trying to tell me something. And then I finally heard it. The wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Would I be joining them?
Mm-hmm. Caw.
Only the Higurashi knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more Higurashi chirps. But the farther I ran, the farther away their chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. 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 I felt that only the Higurashi knew. Is that finally it?
No. But I'll read after this. Chased by shadows.
What the fuck could even be? Don't stop. What the fuck could even? What the fuck? Why is it just dragging on so much? There's no. I feel like every chance there's been a chance to have a cliffhanger or be like.
Oh, the next chapter.
Like, oh, yeah. Or it's like, oh, suddenly, this happened. Like I see Rena and Mion dead at my feet. End of chapter, boom, go to the next one. But no, it's like, every time. And then there has been so many, like, title frame things, like, Higurashi, I'm like, please just let this be the last one. Fuck me, man.
I've told you, it's the last chapter. The smoking room was filled with a cloud of cigarette smoke. The expensive smoke filter gave off some crackling electric noises, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. Why do smokers have to be shoved so far down this corridor where the sun didn't even reach? I recalled hearing that the tax revenue from the tobacco was about a tenth of the great. Municipalities, good lord, revenue. We were the most heavily taxed members of this municipality.
Oh, now you know how it feels to see a word be used 20
I
times
knew this
because
before you knew this. I read this before you even knew it existed. So I really wish they'd show us a little more respect. Why would you discard the 5 manzu there? It's just decreasing your options. One of the younger detectives was having a staring contest with the mahjong magazine called Next Turn. You're still in tenpai if you cut the 5 manzu. If you're betting on haitai, then shouldn't you be going into it with a mangan? Mangan? Kuma-chan, look at the pond. They all discarded a 5 manzu. It's a safe tile. You'd hate if, at the end game, someone was sitting on a tenpei at the last turn, wouldn't you? The kid let out another groan, but put out his cigarette, then took out another one. I just don't agree. Why would you reduce your own options? By the way, you can't call Ron with your winning tile in that haitai. What? Why is that? Just then I heard a voice coming from down the hall. Are you here, Oishi-san? You have a call from a civilian. Whoa, ain't that something? Well, see you soon. Well, why can't you call Ron on it? Well, hold on for a second, Oishi-san! The man sitting in the seat Oishi-san was heading towards waved at the telephone receiver. Outside line, from a payphone. Oh, why thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting, this is Oishi. Who is it?
Oishi-san. Hello?
If it isn't Mayabara-san, why good evening. From the tone of Mayabara-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. This was the first time Mayabara-kun had phoned me, and he was calling from a payphone. Please calm down. Did something happen? His voice was erratic over the line. He had completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone. What happened? Calm down, Mayabara-san. I can have the local officers head to your location. I'll be there soon, too.
I think that's impossible.
His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people even if he was making this call. He wasn't surrounded by people even as he was making this call, was he? Mayabara-san, you're calling from a payphone right now, right? Where is that payphone? There were no other sounds besides Mayabara-kun's voice. It had to be a phone booth. I scratched out a note and thrust it at my colleague sitting across from me. Namizawa, phone booth. He understood quickly and hastily started on the internal lines. Calm down, Mayabara-san. What is your current situation? It was... Did you almost start reading? It was best practice to avoid flustering someone panicking, but this was an urgent case. Mayabara-kun didn't just get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the midst of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Mayabara-kun right now would just needlessly cause him to be even more frantic. Mayabara-kun wasn't just calling to seek help. He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever that was, if I didn't get it from this call, I was certain there would never be another chance. My colleague pushed a note in front of me. There's only one booth in Namizawa. A patrol car is on the way. 5 minutes. That's too long. How many officers are in there? 2. Not enough. If it was, as I imagined, there was likely quite a few people surrounding Mayabara-kun. 5 minutes was too long. Did you call the officer stationed in Namizawa? He's scheduled to be on patrol. They're currently out, and it'll be impossible to contact them.
God damn.
Thank you. Kuma-chan, bring the car around.
了解っす。
Understood.
もしもし、
Hello.
おじさん。
Oishi-san.
もしもし
Hello?
大丈夫
It's all right.
ちゃんと聞こえてますよ
I can hear you loud and clear. There was something wrong with Mayabara-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting? Or was it blood? Had he already been attacked? Was he injured?
前原さん
Mayabara-san, the police are on their way. They'll be there in a couple of minutes, so hold on somehow.
もしもし
Hello?
聞こえてますか
Can you hear me?
前原さん
Mayabara-san. I could hear on the other end of the line that he was having a coughing fit. The worst possible situation popped into my head.
前原さん
Mayabara-san,
犯人は誰
who is the culprit?
犯人なんです
How many are there?
俺も最初は
I thought
人間が犯人なんだと
at first the culprit was human.
I couldn't tell if that was a cough or vomiting.
大丈夫ですか
Are you alright, Mayabara-san?
犯人は人間なんだ
I thought that the culprit was a
親
person
人様の
and
戦い
not
なんだ
Oyashida-sama's curse.
ついさっきまで
I've been so right now.
だけどやっぱり
But I guess in the end,
It was an intense bout of coughing, then vomiting.
やっぱり親代様ってのは
but I
いるんだ
guess
と思います
Oyashida-sama does exist.
いやいます
No, he's
今
here.
前原さん
Mayabara-san, please, please calm down.
落ち着いて
なんかさっきからおかしいと思ってたんです
I had been thinking it was strange for a while now.
ずーっとつけてくるんですよ
It's been following me this whole time.
走っても走っても走っても走っても
I run and I run and run and run,
影みたいにぴった
but it just sticks to me like a shadow.
だけど少しず
But slowly, so
つ少し
slowly,
俺の背中に
digging itself into my back.
前原さん
Mayabara-san,
そいつは
are
今
they
ひょっとして
right now perhaps right
前原
behind
さん
you?
の
後ろに
Behind me,
後
right
ろ
behind
に
me.
お願いです
Please, Mayabara-san,
怖いの
I
は
can tell
わかり
you're
ます
scared,
ですが
but
あ
please,
なたの後
who
ろに
is it that's right behind
振
you?
り向けるわけないじゃないですか
I can't just look behind me.
振り向いたら俺
If I do, oh,
怖いのはわかります
I understand that you're scared, but please tell me. You just need to turn around a bit. Who is it?
前原さんの後ろ
Who
に
is behind you, Mayabara-san?
誰がいるんです
Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. What followed was a nightmarish
前
sound.
原さん
Mayabara-san,
あんたま
it
さか
couldn't be that you're
喉を
clawing
引っ
out
かいたりは
your own throat.
しないでしょうね
There was no answer, but I could hear
bro
something like
accidentally
scratching.
pricked himself. Ugh.
There was a bang as if something was being hit. Mayabara-kun had probably dropped the receiver. I could hear groaning and vomiting over on the other end, and a repeating abnormal noise.
もしもし
Hello?
もしもし
Hello?
前原さん
Mayabara-san?
もしもし
Hello? I knew how far away my voice would sound on the other end, but I couldn't help but shout. At that moment I heard whispering coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying. From the way he was saying it, was he talking to himself? Or was he talking to someone there?
もしもし
Hello?
前原
Mayabara-san?
さん
Rather than whispering, it was some kind of mantra he was chanting over and over. Focused my senses trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly? Beep!
Beep.
Suddenly the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. Ugh. It was because it cuts out so abruptly. The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind.
おいさん、車は OK っす。
Oishi-san, the car is good to go.
おいさん。
Oishi-san,
ごめんなさい
it was... I'm sorry.
おいさん。
Oishi-san? That's what he was repeating over and over. He said, I'm sorry. I had a gut feeling there was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirp of the higurashi spilling in from the open windows. Queak, 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 queak. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. I just wasn't paying any attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Not doing it again. Were they trying to tell me something? Only the higurashi knew. That's how I felt. Only the Higurashi knew. Be how a couple of people be feeling. June 1983. In Hinamizawa, a remote village near Shishibone City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. The suspect is Keiichi Maebara, aged 1X. The suspect called over his 2 female classmates, Rena Ryugu, Miya Sonozaki, to his house and beat them to death with a metal bat. The scene of the crime was the suspect's room on the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of the room was covered in a significant quantity of splattered blood, and there were signs of a struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, living room, and kitchen all had traces of a struggle. At the entranceway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted by a strong, blunt force. It is believed to have been the same bat as the murder weapon. Having no traces of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There is the possibility that the suspect overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back and then thrown aside. It is hard to believe that this had a connection to the struggle with the victims, and thus the reason for this remains unknown. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart and its contents were spread out on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area, and handprints believed to belong to the suspect were discovered. It is believed that the suspect had, for some reason, taken out the garbage and struck it with his fists. The reason for this remains unknown. In addition, there was a note stuck to the fridge. The words, "Was there a needle?" were written on it. The meaning behind this remains unclear. Just in case, the garbage was searched, but a needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect's fingerprints were discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. The suspect fled the scene of the crime. However, a patrolling officer, Hinamizawa local PD, found the suspect collapsed inside a phone booth. After the time of discovery, the suspect was unconscious in critical condition. He was rushed to the local hospital for treatment, but did not regain consciousness and died 24 hours later. The results of the autopsy indicate the immediate cause of death to have been hypovolemic shock. It was determined that the suspect had clawed at his own throat with his fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With the similarity to the death of Tomitaka-san the prior week, the police believe there to be a connection and have opened an investigation. Thank you, by the way. However, due to the wishes of the local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that drugs were involved, but as with Tomitaka-san, no traces were discovered. What prompted all this remains inexplicable. As such, the case is being treated as an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect's bizarre behavior leading up to the incident, it is possible that this was premeditated. Separated from his group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behavior. Several days before the incident, and the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behavior, as well as talking to himself at school. His classmates have actually heard portions of what he was saying. 2 days before the incident, the suspect declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to these circumstances, the police have begun an investigation on the possibility that this crime was not committed on impulse, but was instead planned several days in advance. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets from a B5 college-ruled notebook that had each been torn in half, and if trying to conceal it, was stuck hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written in the appendix. The police believe it to be strongly related to the incident. The police changed their line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, no further clues were found, casting doubt on the credibility of the note. Was the crime impulsive or premeditated?
Oh my god, they didn't find the fucking... They didn't find the fucking syringe.
Let's see. With the situation unclear and no further developments, the case has been labeled unresolved. However, the following year, suspicion arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on two halves of B5 paper from two separate sheets, but was originally a single sheet of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines from the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letters, the missing section is estimated to be 2 to 3 lines. It is highly probable that the person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from the traces of large quantities of cellophane tape being stuck to the back of the clock, speculation that something other than the note was stuck there has arisen. The person who first discovered the crime was a detective rumored to have a connection with the incident, Kuroda Oishi. He underwent voluntary questioning, but denies involvement in any damages to the note. The suspect's note. I, Keiichi Maebara, am in fear of my life. I do not know why they are after my life. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This is all in the first sheet. The section below has been ripped out. This is from the second sheet. The section above this has been ripped out. I have no idea why it has become like this. If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead, though you may or may not find my body. You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. Keiichi Maebara.
He ripped out the part talking about himself to not raise suspicion. Smart.
It's not the only thing he took.
Yeah, but why? That's another thing. Why did he take the drug?
Did he?
The fuck do you mean, did he?
Just that. I mean, what if it wasn't the drug? What if it wasn't a syringe? Why would he leave it there?
Did you just say syringe?
Syringe. Jeez. Leave me alone. I'm tired.
Or what did you say? You said, what if it wasn't a syringe? Why would he leave it there?
Mm-hmm.
What?
If he left... He also took out the part that said, he took out the part that had anything to do with what was taped to the back of the clock. Why?
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll find out eventually.
I don't know if he. I don't think he trusts the police. I don't think Oishi-san trusts the rest of the police department.
Could be, but I mean, he trusted him pretty easily when he was saying to go get the kid.
Well, I mean, yeah. Dude's like in danger. He sensed that he was in danger. It's either, you know.
Why would he trust the police officers to protect this child if they weren't? If they were bad guys?
But he literally just said that the police that were going to go there weren't from Hinamizawa.
Alright, I'm confused, but whatever. We'll figure it out eventually.
What do you mean?
It has more to do with the other chapters. It's you're not supposed to know what's happened.
So, why are you like taking my insight and then just like almost like it's like a fucking essay? Like you're like, this doesn't really make sense here. Of course, I'm not gonna know. I'm speculating from what I think could happen, and you're picking it apart like it's some test. Just let me talk.
But yes, it's very interesting. And now we finally get to watch the first 4 episodes, eventually. But, had fun playing the game. Very detective-esque game. Excited to see what the reaction will be to the next information you receive.
Find out in 3 months.
Oh my goodness. Already done? What do you
Already?
mean already? What do you mean?
Jesus. My throat stings.
I asked if you wanted me to. Oh.
You're gonna make me make a sick person read.
Oh my god, I'm fine. If it was that bad, I would say that we would finish the chapter next stream. But yes, fun game. So, God, so great. Boo-hoo. Have a good night, Gray. Thank you guys for joining me playing this game with me. It's a very fun game, very long game. Interesting.
You good?
Yes. I hope your night is just barely not. Oh my goodness, Poncho, that's crazy. Debatable on the game. Oh my goodness, it's a great game. It's a good anime, better game. Technically speaking, I don't know. But yes, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, morning, whatever it may be for you, and I'll see you next time. And we'll be playing some game. Okay? We might be starting a new game. Most likely starting a new game. But if it is requested, I shall play some Monster Hunter Wilds. I could do with some hunting. But, ending? Damn, what? Yeah. It's nice to see you, Wolf. I'm excited. I'm excited for the double date. Oh. Let's see. Yeah. But yes, I am ending now. I have been feeling sick, as Jeff said earlier. I am in the dregs of a migraine. Had to convince my partner. Yeah, hope you feel better then. Sarah. Huh?
It's Wolf's real name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it'll be fun to play. Jeff was thinking that we could even do teams against each other. I'm not sure though. Girls were what?
No. No, partner with partner. That's. But yes, I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun. I have never played that game. I heard it was really good. But yes, I shall
talk with you later. I shall play games with everyone later. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye! Kinda wanted to beat my partner, but should be fun. Maybe we can play multiple rounds. Bye-bye. You wanna say bye, Jeff?
Bye.
Alright, bye-bye!